Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today I've got a video. It's kind of a products I regret buying, but these are all products I've gathered that I don't understand them. Like, I don't know how they were meant to be used in a way that makes any sense. And so I thought this was kind of a fun video. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's going to be negative. That's the nature of a video like this. So if you clicked on it and then you're like, oh my gosh, she's so negative. Well, duh. So if you don't like negative videos, you might want to go watch another one of mine. They're not all like this, of course. But if you enjoy this style of video, of course, give it a thumbs up. It's all in good fun. It's just makeup. Other than that, I hope you'll subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. The first product I don't understand. I've got two. Okay, in all fairness, my dog Pinocchio just chewed this up. It was like in a pile ready to be talked about in a video, and he just came and stole it. This is this glittery beauty sponge. I love beauty sponges. It actually feels like it might be a good sponge. However, there's glitter in it. And even when I just do this, I'm seeing little bits of glitter come off. Now, it's not like a ton of glitter. However, this is marketed as like a highlighting sponge. What? So am I supposed to only put it here and then there's also gonna be glitter with whatever highlighter that I'm blending in? Like, the theory behind this makes absolutely no sense to me. I could use a regular sponge, and if I were blending in, say, a cream highlight with the sponge, which I do often, I'm gonna use a regular sponge, because one that has glitter in it that has the chance of the glitter falling off, I very rarely want a highlighter that has glitter in it. So why would I want that in this? So this is only marketed to someone that loves glitter in their highlight, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like a really dumb idea that I don't know what, you know, maybe they thought, I don't know. Just a bad idea, Elf. Bad idea. And that brings me to the next one. Sorry, I'm like sneezing up a storm over here. Don't mind me. The next one. It was in the same, I think it was in the same pack that they sent me these. It's this like a silicone sponge, but again, there's like glitter trapped in it. Now, the glitter is cute on this because the glitter's not going anywhere. It's inside the actual silicone, so at least it's cute, but it's not getting everywhere. Cool. I like that there's like this little thing that you can put your fingers between, except for if you've ever used a silicone sponge. So this is not me knocking e.l.f. only. This is me knocking any of these silicone sponges. These don't make any sense. If you've ever used it, it'd be like taking, what's it similar to? It's like taking anything and just going like this, like put foundation all over the side of this and just rub it into your skin. That's how this ends up working. The nice thing is, yeah, no, it doesn't soak up any of the product. However, you're just rubbing it around. Why not use your fingers? Why not use freaking anything? It doesn't make, I don't know. So if you found a way to use these in a way that makes sense to you, good for you. I've tried many brands, I've tried many ways, and none of it. It's way more work than it needs to be. So I ended up using this, like I would just put my foundation on it and then use my brush or my beauty blender to tap onto it. So it's kind of like my little painter's palette instead of my hand. I was just using this because I was like, might as well use it for something. I'll admit there are a couple e.l.f. products in here, but there are some other brands. Let's talk about Too Faced. I have two Too Faced products that I was like, what? First one is the Too Faced Sweetie Pie Radiant Matte Bronzer. Soak that in for a second. Radiant Matte Bronzer. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I open it. Now, of course, I've already ruined it because there was like this glitter gold overspray that I was like, what? Why would anyone want that? So I've already swatched it enough that that overspray is gone. So it is this matte bronzer. Is it radiant? Maybe. I mean, it really is just a matte bronzer. I could see maybe there's a little bit of like kind of glitter in it. And so that brings me to the next point. Radiant and matte, those are like opposites. Now, I will say this. And this is kind of a theme in this video. You're gonna see this radiant matte idea. One of my favorite highlighters, if not my absolute favorite, is this Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder. And I do absolutely adore this. And while the name is like, what? It really is kind of radiant and matte because it's very subtle. I would say it's more radiant than matte because it is still a highlighter. I put this on top of another highlighter that I tried. I use this like every single day. So I can get past the name, except for the overspray on the Too Faced one made no sense. And now it really is just matte. So calling it a matte radiance makes no sense to me. So it was just one of those things that I was like, it's an okay bronzer. I've used it a couple times, but the like the basket weave is really, really cute, but then there's the pink in there. So I'm like, so eventually I'm gonna really start hitting down into the pink parts. Is that gonna end up looking more like a blush? Like, how should I use this? So it's just one of those products that I feel like they put too many ideas together. It reminds me of like all those Too Faced, like the leopard, different like bronzer blush things that were also glittery, and I actually think I have all of them, and I'm like, I don't know how to use any of these. They were sent to me and I've gotten rid of them before. I'm gonna get rid of them again because they're just so much all in one product, that, but you have to use it all at the same time, that I'm like, I don't like it. Like, I'd rather have a blush I like and a highlighter I like and a bronzer I like. Next product from Too Faced was this. It was the Too Faced I Want Candy collection. I love Candy Johnson. I think she is an amazing YouTuber, an amazing person inside and out, and I liked some products from her collection. However, I think if she were completely, and I don't know how the behind the scenes works with all this stuff, but I know that there's only so much control that someone, you know, working with the company, there's only so much control they have. There are certain pricing limitations, ingredient limitations. They're just limitations. And I think if Candy had complete control, I think a lot of the products would have been different and maybe better. Anyway, but like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs. This, when you first watch it, is absolutely stunning. The way they describe this, they call it a luminizer. So, you know, it's meant to be, I would assume this as a stick highlighter, and it is pretty. However, there's genuine bits of glitter in this that when I wore it the few times I did, you know, you blend it out and it's so pretty. But the glitter gets everywhere. And so it was just one of those things, I'm like, come on, it's got the cutest packaging, it swatches beautifully, the shade is really pretty, but it's so got this bits of glitter. And it stinks because, you know, even just swatching it, you can barely see it, but the second you get it on your face, it's as if throughout the day, the highlight kind of wears away and all that's left behind is that glitter. And it looks crazy. It looks crazy. So I was really sad. This is definitely going to be decluttered for my collection because it's just one that, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. There's glitter all over my face. All right, the next product is from Origins. This is a very famous product of theirs. It's their ginseng tinted moisturizer. I remember having this on a wish list like years ago when I first heard like other YouTubers talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds amazing. It's like this tinted moisturizer and it kind of matches to your skin. Oh, this stuff looks so patchy on my face. It's crazy. It made me think, okay, I know my skin is not perfect, not even close, but is it that bad that it looks that patchy? So I've applied it with my fingers because I figure, you know, that makes sense for a tinted moisturizer. And it's kind of this like creamy, almost pistachio colored stuff, but you blend it in like a lotion all over your face, and it has what they call a sheer tint release. And so it ends up kind of blending into your skin, adding a little bit of color to it, perfecting it just a little bit. However, when I put it on, it just looked crazy. It was like orange and like, you know, the spot around your brows, it was like orange around there. You know, it would just be patchy, especially around my hairline. And I was trying to be really good about blending all that. And I would even grab a sponge and try to fix it. So in the end, I was able to fix it, but I was like, okay, if I'm using a tinted moisturizer, I don't have that much time to be fussing that much. I'd rather use a BB cream that I love or something and not even worry about it. So this is something that I think I've used maybe 4 or 5 times, and every time, no matter what moisturizer or primer, anything I put under it, it didn't seem to matter. But I still, because it's so famous and so many people like it, I still want to keep trying it in different ways and see if I can find a way to make it work. I will say it kind of looks nice over that really shimmery. I wiped off the Too Faced I Want Candy stick, but I feel like it's still there, so it looks really pretty over that, doesn't it? Anyway, I don't know. You guys let me know if you found a way to like use this and love it, because I'm just so curious. I think I found a way to explain it. It's as if like the edge of wherever you put it dries and you can see a line. Whereas I feel like with foundation, you can kind of blend it to the point where it blends right into it. But with this stuff, like once it dries, it's there and then it starts changing color. Whereas at least the foundation, you see the color as you're doing it. So it's just trickier to work with. The next product is from L'Oreal. It's their Infallible Pro Glow powder. What do they call it? Demi Glow Finish. Half of this is a powder and half of it is a glittery sort of highlight. This is in the shade 22 Creamy Natural. I don't think they even have a lighter shade than this, so they really don't go light enough for my skin tone, but you can kind of mix them together. It's just a mediocre powder, but on top of that, it has that glitter half. So when I applied it to my face, yet again, glitter everywhere. I don't know why companies are still putting like pure glitter into things. I don't know who's really in the market for that. I don't know if they're assuming that we're dumb enough to think that glitter is what makes everything look shimmery, whereas, you know, there are so many amazing products that have no glitter, but they have that beautiful glow. Everyone's wanting that beautiful glow. Most people are not wanting glitter all over their face to achieve that glow. There are other ways to make that kind of a product, so I'm sure it's a cheaper way to do that, maybe, and that's maybe why they're doing it. I don't know, it just doesn't add up to me. Very odd product, can't figure out what I'm supposed to do with it. I don't get it. Next product I used to love. I will admit, I used this for like 2 months and I loved it. I don't know if this has gone bad or whatever, but this is the second one of these I've owned. It's the Clinique Pep Start Hydro Blur Moisturizer. And it's this really kind of cool feeling moisturizer. It's very like whipped kind of and very, very pore filling. And that's why I loved it. It was moisturizing, it was pore filling. But I've noticed now, and I've had this second one for a while, and that's why I think, well, maybe it's gone bad, but it just pills up so much, no matter what I use it with in any way, it still does that. And so I'm like, okay, so you're not doing your job. You're not moisturizing and staying where I need you. You're ending up like, I'll put either like with a sponge or with a brush, put foundation on, and that stuff is going everywhere, whether I use a primer with it or not. It's just, I don't know. So if you've tried this recently and you've noticed the same thing, maybe they've reformulated, or maybe this one has gone bad, or maybe it's been like this all along, but I was somehow lucky the first few months I used that first one. I don't know. Also it's really stormy here and it's kind of awesome. So the next product is another e.l.f. one, and it is their Aqua Beauty Shadows. And this is in the shade Island Breeze. Cool idea, okay? So the idea is that they're these kind of creamy, in a way like ColourPop shadows, but not nearly as creamy. I don't know how else to explain it. Now look at that color. That's ridiculous. That is so beautiful. But the other colors, I just felt very like underwhelmed by. You can't even barely see them. And then there's this weird like yellowy chartreuse, which is super punchy, but I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna wear that. But then there's this weird like white one that like blends to nothing and yet again has glitter suspended in it. So I just felt like these, like, how do you wear them? Are you supposed to put them all over your lid? Do you apply them with your fingers? That's how I've tried it. You certainly can't use a brush because they don't go anywhere. So then I'll put it on my lid and try to blend it with the brush, and that'll work okay. But most of these are so kind of crummy that I'm like, I can't, like any of the ones that I would want to blend, I can't. And then like this one looks really, I will say this one, if they sold it as a single, top notch, beautiful color. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous, but all the rest of them, I was just like, what? So again, just kind of a, I don't know. I don't really know how this got through testing with most of the shades other than like those two being really bad. I mean, just patchy, don't really stay on long. They're not easy to blend. They don't really even just go on at all. It's just a weird product. All right, next one, the e.l.f. Aqua Primer Mist. Just watch. Okay, it probably didn't do it justice. This stuff squirts out at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour. That exaggeration was just about dead on. 1,000,000 miles an hour, and your face is freaking soaked, and it takes forever for it to dry. I've tried it from like this far away, like I've tried everything, so then I'm like, okay, so then I'll just kind of push it in with my fingers. That doesn't really help. And then I'm like, well, now I'm just mixing the grossness that's on my finger. I don't know. So I just feel like there's no good way to use this, and if this is supposed to replace a primer, I don't have that long. Like, I've got a minute or two to let the primer sink in, but this is taking like 3 to 4 minutes, so then I'm fanning it, and I'm like, I could be doing something else with my hands right now while it's like, I don't know. So I just felt like just a silly product, way too difficult to work with. Do I think it held on to my foundation anymore? No, I really don't. It's just, I think it's maybe a little gimmicky and just not very good, and the nozzle is terrible. So those were all of the products that I don't really get, that I just was not impressed with. I think they're kind of weird. I don't know what the brand was thinking. I hope that you enjoyed this style of video. I know it was uberly, is that a word? Uberly? Super negative, but they're always fun. It's just fun to talk about makeup. And so I would love to know what products you maybe were confused by, that you really didn't like. Let us all know down below and we can get a conversation going. Other than that, I hope you'll subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.